Hi, this is Katie with craftingwithkatie.com, and today I'm going to show you how I made this cute little spool shaped card. See, the whole thing's shaped like a spool. I made this using my Gypsy. I used a Gypsy font cartridge, and I embellished it with a super cute new die. This is a sneak peek for a new My Creative Time die and stamp set coming out. So the sentiment and this die are from My Creative Time. Alright, when you're on your Gypsy and on a 12 by 12 mat, you want to hit this button in the bottom right corner to pull up your overlays. And I'm on Gypsy font, which is the one we want. And we're going to hit this button right here and hit shift. And that'll give you some shapes over here that'll work to make the spool. So you're going to want to select an oval and a square. Okay, so now that I have those, I'm going to just bring them up here and separate them. So I'm going to take my oval and I'm going to put it on real dial size because I know my card to fit in an A2 size envelope needs to be 4 1/4 inches across. So I'm going to just take the this little button off that stops it from linking the width to the height, and that way I can just increase the width to 4 1/4 inches. So I'll type 4.25. Okay, and then the width looks fine to me. Now for my square, I'm going to be turning this into a rectangle, but I'll start off by just making it the width that I like. Maybe I'll make it a little bit narrower. Let's see, we'll do it about 3.4 inches. All right. Now, it's kind of hard to get to see exactly where 5 1/4 inches. So what I'm going to do, since this is highlighted, I can add another layer by hitting the plus button. And if I go to advance and I hit this copy button, it'll copy with the last thing I highlighted. So there's my square. And the reason I'm going to do this is I'm going to turn this into a rectangle that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's on the real dial size. I'm going to change my width to 4 1/4. And I'm going to change my height to 5 1/2. And I'm going to put it right above, just right where the top of my oval is. And then if I go back to layer 1, I have that in the background just to help me make sure I have everything the right size and it'll still fit in the envelope. So the oval, I'm going to copy. And I'm going to, oops, we won't worry about this square yet. I'm going to want one of my ovals at the bottom and one at the top. And if you hold down this left button here and click on your image, you can see it a little bit better. So you can see behind, that's the rectangle I'm wanting to line it up with. Looks like it's pretty good. That's great. And then we'll go down and make sure the bottom one is just where we want it. Perfect. So the last thing is my square. So I'm just going to put it in the center. Go back to basic. It's already unlinked. What I want to do is increase the height. So I'm going to click on the height button and increase it a bit so it's going into the ovals, because when I weld it together it won't cut that way, so that's fine. And if I click to zoom in a little bit, I can try to get this centered pretty well. So that looks pretty good. So all you have to do then is to group all three together. So you click on the grouping button, make sure all three of them turn blue. There we go. Go to advanced. Hit this button to weld them together. And if you hit the eyeball, you can see where it will cut. So it's only going to cut the red, which is great because I don't want that inside part cut. Okay, so the next step is take the eyeball off so you can work with it again, and I'm going to copy this twice. Now the one copy is going to be for a top layer, because you'll see when I crease my card, after I weld it together and make a crease at the top, you would see that, and I don't want to see it. I'll explain that in a minute with my card. Okay, so what you want to do is take one of the copies and put it directly on top of the original. So you want the height, everything to be matched up perfectly. Now, the next step is to flip it. We're going to want the card to open at the top, so we want it to flip this one and slide it up so it'll line up perfectly. So I'm going to flip it this way, and then I'm going to use the arrow keys to slide it straight up because I don't want it moving to the right or the left at all. And then if I click here to enlarge, I'm going to want enough of it overlapping so that it'll, see if I overlap just right at the top, it'd just be a teeny little bit that could tear easily. So we'll do it about there. Okay, so the last step then is to weld these two together. Alright, so what we want to do now is to group this spool with this spool. So I'm going to hit my group button, and I'm going to go to the advanced and hit the weld and hit the eyeball. And now you can see it's going to be a welded shape card. So this layer will just fit right on top because this is going to be a flat line right here, and I don't want that on the front of my card. I want it rounded. So we'll go ahead and cut those out. So if you look at my card, this was the long piece with it welded together. And you can see from the back, if I hadn't taken that extra piece and cut it out to glue on top, the shape of my card would have been like this. It wouldn't have that nice rounded spool on the top. And that also gave me the opportunity to add my layer on top here and wrap some ribbon around it and glue it on so the ribbon's not coming onto the inside of my card. Alright, one last trick to just show you how I made this front pattern paper layer. What I did was I cut a rectangular piece of pattern paper the same width as my spool here. And then what I had done with my gypsy is I ungrouped the oval and cut it once just as it is. And all I did was I lay it right on top of the pattern paper and I traced it. And then at the bottom, to get it rounded, I lay it on top and then I just slid it up a little bit and traced it again. And that made it look like it was right there laying on the spool. Thank you so much for watching this little tutorial. And if you're visiting me on YouTube, please stop by my blog, craftingwithkatie.com. And also stop by my Creative Time, which you can see the other sneak peeks using this very cool stitch oval die and the sentiment that are both being released this Friday, August 19th, 2011.